All right, let's dive into one of the most mind-blowing construction projects in all of human history, the Great Wall of China. We're going to explore why it was built, the unbelievable effort that went into it, and what it really means for us today. People have often described it as this colossal stone dragon just sleeping across the mountains. And when you think about it, that's exactly what its builders wanted, a guardian that was powerful and awe-inspiring. But this dragon, it was born from a very real and very constant danger. So that gets us to the first big question. Why? Why on earth build something on this scale? What was the grand dream that started it all? This really paints the picture, doesn't it? On one side, you've got this newly unified China, full of farms and villages building up its wealth. And on the other side, you've got this constant threat from the north. Nomadic tribes, often called hungry wolves, who could sweep in on horseback, raid a village, and just vanish before an army could even show up. So along comes China's very first emperor, Qin Shi Huang. And his vision was, well, it was bold, and it was direct. He said, we're going to build a barrier so huge, so powerful, that it will protect our borders for good. This wasn't just about building a wall. It was about drawing a line in the sand and saying, this is our civilization. Now, it's a huge mistake to think of this as just a simple wall. It was way more than that. It was this complex, high-tech defense system for its time. The towers could send smoke and fire signals like an ancient internet warning of an attack for miles. And get this, the top of the wall was basically a highway, letting soldiers race along the border to where they were needed most.
Which brings us to the next kinda obvious question. How in the world did they actually build this thing? I mean, the sheer scale of the engineering is it's staggering, even for us today with all our modern machinery.
Okay, so the first thing you have to realize is that the wall wasn't built in a year or even a decade. This was a project that spanned centuries across many different dynasties. Emperor Qin got the ball rolling, but the iconic stone and brick sections that we all recognize today, those were built mostly by the Ming Dynasty, more than 1,500 years later. And the engineering itself was just incredibly smart. In places where they couldn't find stone, they just used what they had around them. This rammed earth technique is the perfect example. They'd build a wooden frame, dump in some soil and gravel, and then pound it down with massive force, layer by layer, until it was literally as hard as rock. So simple, but so effective. Just imagine the challenge here. You had to work with whatever materials you could find right there. And you weren't building on flat ground. You were on these insane, rugged mountaintops. The logistics were an absolute nightmare. Everything had to be carried by hand in wheelbarrows, or even by animals like donkeys and, get this, goats. That's how tough it was. But, and this is a really important but, this incredible achievement came at a devastating price. We just can't talk about how the wall was built without talking about the immense, tragic human cost. Millions. Just let that number sink in for a second. Millions of people. A workforce made up of everyone. Soldiers, farmers pulled from their fields, criminals, all sent to this brutal northern frontier to work. It's almost impossible to even imagine that many people. And the conditions they faced were just horrific. We're talking scorching hot summers, then bone-chillingly cold winters. They were overworked, underfed, and disease spread like wildfire. Accidents happened all the time. Thousands upon thousands of people died building this thing. It got so bad that the wall earned this dark, haunting nickname. The legend says that many of the workers who died were just buried right there, inside the wall's foundations. So the symbol of protection also became a massive tomb. So after all that sacrifice, you have to ask the most important question of all. Did it actually work? Was it a success? It's time for a verdict.
Let's just put it out there, plain and simple. From a military point of view, was all that human suffering and all that effort worth it? Well, the answer is, it's complicated. On the one hand, yes, it absolutely worked in some ways. It made those quick hit-and-run raids so much harder, and it was a great alarm system. It definitely helped keep the peace for long stretches of time. But it wasn't foolproof. Not even close. Invaders could always find a weak spot, and maybe the biggest weakness of all wasn't the stone, but the people. One corrupt guard taking a bribe could open a gate and make hundreds of miles of wall completely useless.
And that brings us to what the wall means today. Its legacy is really two things at once. It's an absolute wonder, but it's also a warning. Because honestly, nobody today is thinking about its old military record. The Great Wall has become something so much bigger than its original purpose. It's a global icon, a stunning work of art, and a powerful symbol of human endurance, strength, and just sheer ambition. So, I'll leave you with this final thought. When we look at these incredible monuments from our past, what's the true measure of their worth? Is it the glory of what was built, or is it the immense human price that was paid to build it? Something to think about.
Hello, my dear friends! If you enjoyed today's adventures, don't forget to hit the subscribe button to receive all the fun and exciting new stuff.